Hello, fellow recovery and harm reduction community. So I'm back on the wagon. Had a couple day lapse. Just been dealing with the grief of my friend, and this has been the hardest grief that I've ever had to deal with. Worse than my grandpa. Lot worse. And I think that's just because I talked to my friend who died a lot, and we could be totally real with each other. And yeah, so I had a little bit of a lapse, but I'm okay with that. I don't have any judgment toward myself or any shame. Totally accept where I am. And yeah, it feels good to not have to be perfect. As far as the grief goes, like the first day, oh man, actually the first 3 days, I don't even know what day it is. It's just kind of been a blur. Like the first 3 days I was just kind of comatose. Like I felt like I was in coma. Like I couldn't talk. Even now it's kind of hard to talk about this. A lot of crying. I cried for like 3 days straight, and cried again today. But today I'm noticing that I feel a lot of rage, and I didn't really feel rage until today. And today I'm just like so agitated and so mad. Like I told my friend, I was like, if I believed in God, I would be cursing him right now. Which, that's okay. It's okay to be angry. There's nothing underneath it. It's just anger. My tolerance for people lately has not been great. And this was kind of something that came up before my friend died. So one of the things I'm noticing about my relationships is that how a lot of them, I'm trying to change this, but how a lot of them look is like me holding space for people and where they are, totally validating where they are, you know, just supporting them without me involving my own shit. And one of the things I notice is that I'll give people opportunities to show up for me, and a lot of the times I'm met with judgment, or like a projection, or like just lack of clear communication. And it's so frustrating for me as somebody who loves to communicate, and also someone on the spectrum, because it's like I try to communicate so clear, so there's like not a lot of room for error and miscommunication. And when someone hasn't done their work and they're emotionally immature, and I'm met with like projection or defensiveness, or just, it's confusing for me because I don't get it. I'm like, what are you really trying to say? And I don't think it's fair for us to put people in the position of having to figure out what we are really trying to say. I think it's up to us to do our own work to figure out what our needs are so we can clearly communicate them. And the reason why I care so much about this is because communication is how we connect, how I connect anyway, primarily. I know there's a lot of different ways to communicate, touch, music, and all that stuff, but I like words, and I'm not always wise with my words, but it's a practice. I practice being authentic and clear, and so it's frustrating. So anyway, my friend who died, he was someone who was available, emotionally available. And that day when I found out that he died, I was literally thinking like, gosh, I need emotionally available people in my life because I am emotionally available. I've done my work. I want to connect. And even though I might not communicate great all the time, I know how. When I'm not triggered, I can do it fine. And I want that in my relationships. I want that back. And so one of the things I learned from my friend's death is that I'm just like, I can't continue to make space for people who are in such a different place that it's like I don't really ever feel seen or heard. I just don't want to do that anymore in my life. You know, I can't. It's lonely. And yeah. So I've been thinking a lot about the direction that I want to take this channel. Motivation has been hard in recovery for me, anhedonia. But I was thinking about like talking either about communication, like making a video on how to hold space. I don't know. Lately, I just think that all of my ideas are stupid. I'm not sure why. I'm just like, oh, that's boring. That's boring. That's boring. That's boring. And I think my problem is I just need to do it and remove the thought process out of it, which I'm noticing for my brain at this state is difficult to do. You know, I can sit on the couch and think about taking a shower for hours, and that seems safer than just taking a shower, which is, ridiculous. But so I also thought about talking about like the perspective of addiction, or talking about addiction from the perspective of having autism. I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what I want to do with this channel. Thought about creating some recovery meetings that truly are harm reduction based, because one of the things that I found is that even the harm reduction meetings, a lot of times there's a lot of like 12-step transplants that come in and spread that agenda or try to push that agenda. And I don't know about anybody else, but I have, 12-step doesn't sit well with me at all. So I'm either going to be talking about like communication or autism and communication. Thought about starting a harm reduction meeting. I also thought about on my other YouTube channel, which doesn't have anything on it, creating something about like grief and chaplaincy. But motivation has just been really hard, and I'm grieving, and it's making me feel like a fucking lunatic. I just miss my friend a lot. I miss him a lot. And so if you have any suggestions on what direction to take this channel, or like what would be interesting, I could use some help. I could use some guidance. I could use some just advice. I'd really appreciate it. Or you could just tell me to just delete it all and be present in my life. I'd listen to that suggestion too. I do find that I'm pretty present, but I kind of hate social media. I miss face-to-face contact with people a lot. So, yep. Anyway, disassociating. That's been happening a lot lately, over the last few days. So, anyway, bye.